You're a farmer yourself, correct?
Yes.
When you talk to farmers on the ground, what are the difficulties they tell you they're facing at the moment?
If we go to industry, the industrial manufacturers face difficult, everybody faces difficult, but that's not the point. The point is, here as the policymaker, as government, what are we doing to encourage farmers to better their lot? And we are using a very inclusive strategy, which is why we are focusing on smallholders, because they are some of the lowest wage earners you can find in Ghana. So if you are going to help them to increase their productivity, it means that you are carrying the whole country, not just leaving them behind and focusing on the few selected commercial farmers. That will help this country. And the problem that we are facing about high cost of food is nothing to do with the shortage of food on the market. You go to the producing areas, you see exactly what I've just come back, 5 weeks ago. I mean, there's plenty of stocks, and that's not even for this year. This year's harvest is yet to come. We're talking about leftovers from last year's crop there. The issue is you go and buy a basket of, say, 150 cedis of tomatoes, and then it comes to Kumasi, suddenly it becomes 400 cedis.
And have you identified why that is the case?
Well, yeah, there's some profiteering going on, because you cannot account for the fact that the first 6 months, there have been 3 increases in prices of petrol because of what is happening on the world market. That has nothing to do with this country, because really we're a net importer of, so what happens on the world market is what we take, right? So if the prices have gone up, they haven't gone up twice or 3 times. The petrol prices haven't gone up, hasn't doubled or tripled.
It actually has doubled. In fact, we started this year 6 cedis, 85 pesos per liter for petrol, and now we're buying petrol at 13 cedis. So it has actually doubled.
Yeah, if it's doubled, it doesn't justify the trebling of prices on the even wholesale prices in the urban areas. It doesn't. So we need to. There's some profiteering going on. Is because the producing areas, prices are still there. The produce is there. Much cheaper, far cheaper than in the urban areas. There's no justification to say that because fuel prices are doubled, and therefore the produce price should treble from the farm gate.
But you acknowledge that the impact of the cost of transportation on the traders is a valid and legitimate concern.
Of course it is. I mean, everybody
definitely pass on the cost of transportation onto the price of the food product that we, the final consumer, go and buy.
Yeah, that is beyond the farmer. You are saying that the farmer in transport, and I'm saying that the farmer stays on his farm.
I'm talking about the trader now, who goes to buy from the farm gate. Because yes, the food stuff would be at a cheaper price at the farm gate. Not everybody can travel to the farm gate. So the food will be available there. But the affordability question is as important as the availability question as well. So if it is transported and the cost is going to go up because the trader is calculating the transportation cost and passing it on to the final consumer, certainly that should be of concern to you, the ministry.
Of course it is of concern to me. And it's of concern to me because it's not proportionate. The price that the final consumer pays in Accra does not reflect all the costs if you put it all together. It's more than. So somebody is making a buck, making a supernormal profit.
What are the interventions the ministry is thinking about to, for instance, address the impact that the cost of transportation is having?
Well, the cost of transportation is to do with the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Transport. So it's a cross-cutting issue.
Because there are proposals that you are going to, for instance, consider or giving some fuel coupons to some of these tractors that go and transport these foodstuff from the farm gate to the various markets. Is this something that you're considering?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been considering all kinds of things. In fact, we've been talking to all the players in the value chain, the transport owners, the market women, even the porters who load and offload these vehicles, just to try and understand the elements. And we've had a series of meetings with them. We're going to do this pilot scheme with the market women where government was going to provide some transportation for them to take to the Tamale and Tachima and others to bring food on the understanding that the prices will be at a certain level because there's a subsidy involved.
The reason why I asked earlier about your interaction with the farmers is that I have also been talking to some of these farmers, and one of the concerns they raise is the cost of input. Fertilizer prices are going high because they say that, in fact, they don't understand why you reduced the subsidies to 15% at a time when they thought that they would actually get an increased subsidy from the ministry so that they'll be able to produce more to be able to at least ensure that the global factors does not impact on us the way we are seeing now.
We don't produce agricultural chemicals in this country. We import everything. So we are dependent upon the global market. We cannot shield ourselves from it. And there's a limit to what budget I have in this ministry to subsidize these things. And one has to be realistic about it. It's affected everybody, not just the farmers, everybody, including you.
Indeed. So what led to the decision to reduce the subsidies to 15%?
If the price landed and the port of Accra, of Tema, used to be $350, and suddenly it goes to $1,000. I cannot afford to keep 50% because you have to use, everything is priced in dollars, and the dollar price has trebled in just a matter of 9 months. So the CD that you need from your budget to buy the same quantity has gone through the roof. So you cannot, where's the money to spend? You have to cut back on the subsidy.
And I don't know if you're aware that some of them have had to increase, in fact, reduce their farm sizes because of this increased cost of production.
Yeah, obviously some, but not all. Of course, some may reduce, others will go on the open market. Well, it's not only the subsidy, which is the market. There's the subsidy market. There's also the open market. Yes. But people are buying on the open market.
And that is also going to lead to an increase in the cost of production.
Of course.
And then they will pass out the cost of production onto us. And that's what is influencing the increase in the prices of food stuff on the market.
Yes, you're right.
You acknowledge that?
Of course. I mean, but what else do you want us to do? The farmer has to make a profit. So if his cost of production goes up, whoever is benefiting in terms of consumption has to ultimately pay for it. This is very simple. And that's why inflation is all over the country. Every country in the world is going through inflation. Not only Ghana. We cannot subsidize. If Ghana was exporting petrol, that's different. We are exporting a little oil and importing most of our requirements. So we are relying on the world market. There's nothing anybody can do about it. The consumer has to bear the cost. And I'm saying it's not just Ghana, everywhere.
The Russians say don't blame them for what's happening.
So that's what they will say.
But they've showed figures. They've given details of our engagement with them. They are the least on the radar when it comes to our problems.
That's their problem. That is their answer. I have a different answer.
But what's your answer as against
my answer is the answer. You think theirs is fact and mine is not fact. You think theirs is fact, but mine is not fact.
They've given some detail.
I was also giving you detail. And you think theirs is fact and mine is not fact.
Well, they have presented your data. Where is the ministry's data?
No. It's not what happens in Russia. It's what happens to the global economy. Please, let's get this right. It's not what happens in Russia with markets. It's what happens, what COVID has had on the global economy, which matters. So I think that we need to raise the question in a different way. The
position of the Russians have always been as against, in fact, contrary to the point that you make, questions have been raised about if we actually could blame them for the lack of fertilizer or because we owe the fertilizer suppliers.
What I'm saying is that, of course, we owe the fertilizer suppliers, but it's all part of the whole disruption of the world economy.
How much do we owe the fertilizer suppliers?
I cannot give you the figures now because we've been paying over time, so I have to check to get my figures right.
But there's a plan to pay them?
Of course, yes.
I see. And is it because you owe them, that's why they restricted the supply of fertilizer?
Well, we still have the arrangement. We have contracts with them.
And they are still supplying fertilizer to you?
Yeah, of course. They're supplying fertilizer. The amount that is being supplied is not enough, and it's not only in Ghana, it's everywhere.
What would be your assessment of the impact of the Planting for Food and Jobs program?
Without planting for food and jobs, we're going as hungry as our neighbors around West Africa, who are now coming to Ghana as a breadbasket to pick our surpluses to go, to the extent that we've had to actually limit it by saying we are temporarily banning export of our produce to the neighboring countries.
Are you sure about what you're saying?
That without it would have gone hungry?
Of course, like other West African countries are going hungry, and that's why they are coming to Ghana to pick our food, our surpluses. And you just have to travel to Ejura and other places to see in those days the number plates of trucks which are crisscrossing Ghana, picking up surpluses to go to feed their own countries. As far as Kano in Nigeria, they were coming here to buy our paddy rice.